I really hate it when people begin a sentence with the word so. So if you've seen these videos before, you will agree with me that pink is a god-awful colour.
Hallelujah!
But even a grumpy old bar steward like me can't help but appreciate the shocking coloration of your Nerines. Can I say bar steward? Can't say bar steward. To be honest, I've never worked behind a bar in my life, although I have fallen over in plenty of South London's local taverns. In this video, I'm going to be talking to you about what are the 5 mistakes for you to avoid when it comes to growing Nerines. And I'm not surprised you are watching because, at least around here, there is an absolute proliferation. There are a lot of Nerines coming into flower as we speak in October, and these will continue to flower into November. Absolutely fantastic plants, although here in the UK there is only one that you can buy with confidence, and that is Nerine bowdenii, otherwise known as the Guernsey lily, spider lily, not by me. I say Guernsey because the other one is a Jersey lily. They're not in the lily family whatsoever. They are indeed from the Amaryllidaceae family. That's right, they are related to Amaryllis, which is why you get those Amarines, that hybrid between Nerines and Amaryllis. I digress. Let's get on with mistake number 1. Mistake number 1 is to not plant them too deeply. Now, if you are familiar with planting bulbs, the general sizing and depth technique is to plant your bulbs 3 times the depth of the bulb, and this is perfectly fine with giant alliums, tulips, daffodils. It works perfectly because that is how they have evolved to survive in the countries that they've come from. But Nerines, no, this is a South African plant. You cannot bury that bulb under the ground. Contrary to what you may think, you have to have the necks and part of the bowl of the bulb, be careful how I pronounce this, above the surface of the soil. So they're only sort of like part bedded in. If you don't do this, then your bulbs could rot over the winter because you would be planting them now in the autumn. And just a little thing on that, you want to purchase these as soon as you see them. They all get lifted in August, they get pre-packed, put into the garden centres. You won't see them in supermarkets, at least not around here. It's only really the preserve of the garden centre or online retailers. But get them in the ground as soon as you can, because all the time they are in those packages and in a warm shop, they are going to dry out, and that will reduce the viability of your bulb come the spring. Also, we'll get into this a bit later, buy as big a bulb as you can find, because there will be a delay when your Nerines come into flower. But for this one, like I say, plant in depth. You don't bury it in the ground. You make sure the neck of the bulb is above the ground, and the shoulders as well above the ground. I know it's counterintuitive, but believe me, that is exactly how you do it. Oh, hold on a minute. If you're finding this video useful or even just mildly amusing, then don't forget to click the thumbs up, press on that subscription, and if you want to be notified of whenever we release a new video, then click on that notification bell. It helps us more than you know, and it allows us to do stupid visits like this in the future. Anyway, let's continue to find out what old boiled butt has to say. Got my bloody glasses back on. Too hot, too sunny. It's too lovely. Did I mention that Nerine bowdenii has the award of garden merit from the Royal Horticultural Society? Well, that was naughty of me. So mistake number 2 is regarding watering. They don't need an awful lot of watering. You want to avoid heavy clay soils. You want to avoid soils that are prone to becoming waterlogged. They like to be kept on the dry side during dormant periods. That would be over the winter and over the summer. Now you will see that they grow particularly well under the eaves of houses, and that's because the eaves act as a rain shadow, keeping the soil below it dry. Plus you've got the house wall, which also sucks moisture out of the soil. Now new plants, when you're establishing in that first year, only when it starts to come to leaf, you can water moderately, but please allow the soil to dry out at the inch or 2 inches of the surface before re-watering. So watering is a very easy way to kill these, because like many bulbs, if the basal plate gets too wet and is particularly prone to freezing wet conditions, then you can kill off the basal plate, won't produce roots, that bulb will die. So I've told you, be careful with the watering. So, mistake number 3 is to not provide sufficient light for your nerines. Now, the temptation is this. If you are familiar with just how bold and bright these blooms are, you may wish to grow these in a part of the garden that is a bit gloomy, a bit shady, in order to brighten it up. But that would be a mistake, because they need to be kept in a position which receives as much sun as you can possibly give it, because using the chlorophyll within the leaves, they'll produce sugars, energy, in order to build up the bulb so that it's got enough energy to power the flowers, because they do use up a lot of energy. So according to the Royal Horticultural Society, you will need to provide an absolute minimum of 6 hours of direct sunshine, our kid. Mistake number 4 is to over fertilize, and that means using those fertilizers that are high in nitrogen, such as your lovely Miracle Grow or that other favorite Phostrogen. If you do wish to fertilize your bulbs, and you really don't need to do that very much, then consider using a high potash or low nitrogen fertilizer, such as you would find in a tomato feed. The problem is this: you won't particularly damage your bulbs, but what you would do is encourage your bulb to produce foliage over and above flowering, which means you could have blind bulbs. That means a bulb that hasn't produced a flower. So there you go. You don't need to feed it too much, and if you do, avoid those high nitrogen foods. You could always consider using, say, a seaweed fertilizer. Again, another one that is low in nitrogen. The low nitrogen is the key. Welcome to breaking news. Thompson and Morgan have joined forces with us, Walking Talking Gardeners, to give you, our viewers, an incredible 12% discount off of everything they have in their store. That's all their dry goods, their sundries, their seeds, their bulbs, all their plants. Everything means everything. How can they do it? I have no idea, but all you need to do to get that discount is spend over £20 and stick in this promotional code, which will be in the description. Alternatively, you can go direct to our landing page, which I'll also put here, and your code will be added automatically. Again, the link for that will be in the description. How do they do it? How can they possibly give such a large discount? I have no idea. No one else can do it. You have got until the end of this year, that is December 31st, 2025, to take advantage of this offer, and then the offer is gone for the spring. So do it now. Spend all your money buying what you need. Don't buy stuff you don't need. It's only worth doing it if it was stuff you wanted to buy in the first place. Don't forget, now is the time to plant your spring flowering bulbs. Anyway, it's all in the description. It's a fantastic offer. I thoroughly recommend it. Who gives 12%? 5% is like your profit margin on all this garden centre products. 12%. Enough said. And now back to your regular programming. The fifth and final mistake for you to make, and thank you very much for watching the video to this point, is to not disturb the bulbs. Now, you may wish to lift and separate them if you've got a particularly large clump and you've found that the flowering has decreased over time, and then yes, you may need to lift it, separate it, replant it. It is going to take probably a couple of years before they reflower. They're certainly not going to flower next year, and like I say, possibly not the year after. It takes time for them to settle in. They are quite sensitive, so be aware of that if you're moving them. Also be really aware of that if you're planting other plants in the area and you accidentally dig them up or lift them. Oh no, don't do that. Even when you buy them, this goes back to that first mistake. If you're buying cheap bulbs that are undersized, not only do you have the issue of them not wanting to flower for a couple of years, they're not even going to be big enough to produce flowers because the bulbs don't have enough energy within them to do so. So there you go. Those are my 5 mistakes to avoid when it comes to growing nerines. But if you've got any other great mistakes to avoid, put that in the comments. We would love to hear from you. Just be aware that here in the UK we can only really grow that bowdenii outside all year round, because it's the only one really that's hard enough to cope with our cold, wet winters. There are plenty of other varieties and some really good red ones like Sarniensis, which I really like, but you can't grow it here. Shush. Doesn't mean you can't grow it where you are. If you're living in a more Mediterranean climate or in very, very warmest parts of the UK, which of course arises other planting issues that you may wish to consider, because I know at the moment the lovely Australians are watching, because it is their spring. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next video. Goodbye. Where's my coffee? Right, now, just before you go, if you want to see more content, more behind the scenes stuff, and images that I've taken of some weird freaky plants over the years, then you're in luck, because we've created an Instagram page. So you can find the link in our description. You can find the link on our main page, and if I'm clever enough, I might be able to get a link somewhere up there. Anyway, thank you for watching, and if you want to see more YouTube stuff, then check out this video here. That's quite a good one. And if it doesn't float your boat, then another one right there. And enjoy these while I've still got the strength, imagination and aptitude to make them. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.